So I think the real value in homeopathy is also treating people in the midst of the acutes, because I often wonder how much would we change the trajectory of their life if we actually addressed the issues as they arose. I saw a Mel Robbins podcast and it was really valuable. I think she was talking with Gabba Mate, and it was around the trauma itself is not necessarily what has happened. It's then what comes after that. Do we swallow it down and keep it a secret our whole life? Are we able to actually express it and get like love and understanding from our parents and have them, hold us? And it's about moving that energy out, because every person is going to go through their own trials and tribulations. So it's not about trying to live a life that is not traumatic in any way, but it's in, do we store that trauma, or do we just feel and we experience what goes on and then we transcend it? And so, I had a woman coming over this week, and she was from the bank actually, and we just had to sign some documents. And she let me know that her husband had been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and he'd been given 4 weeks, and they have a 6-year-old daughter. And, my eyes welled up, and, I'm so sorry, that you have to go through this. And I had a first aid kit sent up, and I wanted to give it to her when she came for us to sign these documents. And I was explaining to her, your daughter and yourself, you're about to go through, something so shocking, so heartbreaking for your vital force. There's no way around it. You're going to have to go through it. But with these remedies, and I pulled out the Ignatia specifically, and I said, now this is a remedy that is going to help you actually process that grief. Now, for you, it might be easier, but if we think for your 6-year-old daughter, so many children, we do not have the faculties to really process and understand the depths of what has gone on. When we lose someone, we just don't understand. And so often this energy and this trauma, the subconscious just packs it away. It goes, oh my gosh, you're too young. This is too difficult. We don't know how to process this. We don't know what to do with it. And so we store it away. But that energy throughout our life can really hijack us in so many ways. And so when we look at, the Ignatia energy, and I know this well, it can result in all sorts of behaviors. One, for example, is that people might either compulsively eat, and it's the result of that energy, all of that suppressed grief. You might use food as comfort, or it can go the other way and people can just completely lose their appetite. People can get really locked into things like eating disorders, with this sort of stored grief and trauma under the surface. People can have trouble sleeping. They can have mood disturbances. We see massive hormonal disturbances, even blood sugar regulation. If you really were to survey people who have gone through immense trauma in their earlier life, their chances of having PCOS and any of these metabolic disorders, chronic disease issues, oftentimes trauma is at the actual root of it. And there is no pharmaceutical on earth that can soothe that trauma. No drug, could suppress it enough that it would actually not be an issue for this person. In fact, it tends to make it much worse. And so the only option we have is homeopathy to hold people and in their vital force actually allow them to feel it and to really process it and then transmute that energy out and transcend it. And homeopathy is the one. It's the one that can do that. And so what we offer the world, it's unique. And it's not just in, these sorts of traumas. It's in what people inherit down their family lines, that energy. Homeopathy can tap into that, the traumas of your ancestors. For the children who are born and, they get to the age 8 and they just feel that heaviness of depression and bleakness about the world, and they don't know why they are that way. They resent that they are, and they think it's just part of their personality. Like, this is just me. But when you look up their family lines and you see your mum and dad, went through immensely stressful, trying times, and their energy was distorted. And then when they conceived you, they passed on all of this distorted energy. And then it's yours to be stuck with and think, how can I get through this? Like, how do I not be a depressed person or an anxious person? I've never known any other way. And in fact, even my parents, we often say, is it nature or nurture? And often it's both. It's the energy that they inherited and then the energy that they were surrounded by. They actually don't see a way to be any different. And yet with homeopathy, we give it to these children and their vital force receives that critical instruction on how to heal it, on how to get back in balance. And I think I always come back to the way that God designed our spirits to work and the human being to live. And it's this providence, I guess, that we were given, this safety net in homeopathy, that knowing, yes, you will go through hard things, but we can heal it. There is a solution. You're not left here to struggle and you're not left alone. And life shouldn't feel heavy and depressing. And you shouldn't be so anxious you don't want to leave the house. And life, frankly, is not meant to be as hard as what most people are currently living under. And so if I am passionate about homeopathy, it's only this, in that every patient that I've worked with, I see those chains get broken and I hear them say the same things time and time again. And they just can't believe, the way that they feel now, this more healed, more rooted, more connected to the spirit, the way that we were always meant to be.